Gall Nation, stop right now. US Bank Stadium just erupted with breaking news, and one fact is already on the table. $180 million. A quarterback carousel just spun wildly. A defensive trade bombshell creates a new opportunity, and an All-Pro just locked in for another season. Insiders warned us last night, and here's the first payoff. That $180 million figure, it's the exact contract Kirk Cousins signed in Atlanta, and now he's back in the Vikings conversation after Geno Smith got snatched by the Jets 24 hours before hitting free agency. If you call louder than you breathe, hit like and subscribe right now. We start with the quarterback chaos that has Minneapolis shaking. Stay locked. There's a double cliffhanger at the end that involves the Ravens and a draft pick windfall. Midnight scramble, phone calls, panic moves. One team jumped the gun, and the entire NFC North just felt a tremor. The Vikings had a plan, they had a target, and then the New York Jets did what desperate franchises do. They overpaid to avoid competition. The player? Someone Minnesota wanted badly. Someone who could have walked into US Bank for pocket change. The name? Geno Smith. And here's why this changes everything. Smith was scheduled to be released by the Raiders at 4 p.m. Wednesday. The Vikings could have signed him for $1.3 million, the veteran minimum. But the Jets traded for his contract 24 hours early, just to block Minnesota and every other suitor. Rich Simoni of ESPN confirmed it. The Vikings were known to be interested. That's not speculation, that's fact. Now the dominoes fall differently. Kevin O'Connell just lost his fallback option, and the spotlight swings hard to two names, Kyler Murray and Kirk Cousins. Murray is the Cardinals' two-time Pro Bowler getting released Wednesday. He's 29 years old, still has juice, and Minnesota is now the heavy favorite to land him. But here's the wrinkle. According to insiders, this is a rumor. The Pittsburgh Steelers could swoop in last second with a late-round pick and steal Murray by taking on his $36 million cap hit. Pittsburgh just spent big on DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman Jr., and new head coach Mike McCarthy wants to make a splash. If the Steelers pull that trigger, Minnesota pivots immediately to Kirk Cousins. Cousins knows Kevin O'Connell's offense better than anyone. He's got the chemistry, and once Atlanta releases him Wednesday, the Vikings can sign him for the league minimum, while the Falcons eat the rest of that $180 million deal. That's the leverage Minnesota has been waiting for. Do you think Kirk Cousins coming back to Minnesota is the move? Or should the Vikings go all in on Kyler Murray? Drop your take below. And if you believe Minnesota just became the most interesting quarterback destination in the NFL, smash that like button and let Packers fans know the North runs through US Bank. But as massive as that quarterback chaos is, the next story flips the defense upside down. Because while Minnesota hunts a signal caller, a monster trade just collapsed in Baltimore, and it creates a golden opportunity for the Vikings to cash in on a defensive asset. Leadership move or cap relief? Stay locked. Closed doors, front office whispers. A deal everyone thought was done just exploded at the finish line. The Ravens had their guy, the contract was ready, and then it all fell apart. The player? Max Crosby, the Raiders' all-pro edge rusher. Baltimore offered 2 first-round picks to land him, and then the trade got canceled on Tuesday. Now the Ravens are scrambling, their pass rush plan is in flames, and Minnesota has the perfect solution sitting on their roster. The name Jonathan Greenard. And here's why this is a masterclass move. Greenard has been on the trade block for weeks. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler on Monday, a lot of teams have shown interest, but the Vikings are holding firm on their price, a day 2 draft pick. Baltimore just proved they were willing to give up 2 first-rounders for Crosby, so one would assume they'd happily give up a 2nd or 3rd rounder for Greenard. The Ravens currently hold the 45th overall pick in the 2nd round and the 80th overall in the 3rd. Minnesota's front office wants that 2nd rounder, but if Baltimore balks, the 3rd round pick still gives the Vikings 5 top 100 selections in this year's draft. That's insane capital for a team that desperately needs to rebuild depth. Greenard wants a pay raise, and Minnesota doesn't want to break the bank on a player who's not part of the long-term core. So why not flip him to a contender, get draft ammo, and let Baltimore solve their pass rush crisis? The math is simple, but here's the twist. According to sources close to the situation, this is a rumor, Baltimore could pivot to free agency instead of trading for Greenard. If the Ravens sign a veteran edge rusher on the open market, Minnesota loses their leverage and might have to settle for a lower pick from a different team. That's the risk Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah are weighing right now. Do you think the Vikings should trade Jonathan Greenard to Baltimore for a day 2 pick? Or should they keep him and bet on his production? Comment your move below. And if you believe Minnesota's front office just pulled off a chess move while other teams play checkers, hit that like button and let Lions fans know who runs the NFC North. But as brilliant as that trade setup is, the next story is about stability. Because while Minnesota navigates chaos at quarterback and defense, one position just got locked down for another year, and it's a player who's been an All-Pro 4 times in 5 seasons. Consistency or luxury, stay locked, handshake deal, loyalty rewarded. One player who's been the heartbeat of Minnesota's special teams just signed his name to stay in purple for another season. The position? Long snapper. The accolade? 4-time All-Pro. The name? Andrew DePaola. And here's why this matters more than you think. DePaola just agreed to a 1-year, fully guaranteed $1.725 million deal to return to the Vikings for his 12th NFL season. Adam Schefter broke the news and the Vikings faithful erupted because this man is the foundation of Will Reichard's record-breaking kicking performance last season. DePaola, 38 years old, has been nominated as an All-Pro 4 consecutive times since arriving in Minnesota in 2020. That's not luck, that's elite execution. But here's the story behind the stats. DePaola went undrafted out of college and worked as a bartender for 2 years before the Tampa Bay Buccaneers called in 2012. He bounced around Chicago, Oakland, and Carolina before finding a home in Minnesota. That's a grind story. That's a player who earned every snap, and now he's getting paid like the specialist he is. $1.725 million, fully guaranteed, is respect money for a long snapper, and it shows Kevin O'Connell values the details that win games. DePaola's consistency is why Minnesota's field goal operation is one of the most reliable in the league. But that's not the only roster move Minnesota made. The Vikings also placed a low tender on restricted free agent linebacker Ivan Pace Jr., giving them the right to match any offer sheet another team throws at him. If no one bites, Pace Jr. costs $3.52 million on the cap and stays in purple. Tyler Furness broke down the implications. If Pace Jr. stays alongside Eric Wilson's extension, Minnesota might take linebacker off their draft board in April. That's depth. That's planning. That's a front office that thinks 3 moves ahead. Do you think Andrew DePaola is the most underrated player in the NFL? Or is paying a long snapper $1.7 million too much? Drop your take below. And if you believe special teams wins championships, hit that like button and let Bears fans know who dominates the NFC North. But as important as locking down your core is, the biggest question still looms over US Bank Stadium. Will Minnesota land Kyler Murray, bring back Kirk Cousins, or roll with J.J. McCarthy and a veteran backup? And what happens if the Ravens don't bite on the Greenard trade? The next 72 hours will define this franchise's trajectory. Stay locked because the conclusion ties it all together. 3 stories, 1 storm. The quarterback carousel spins violently, the defensive trade opportunity opens a draft pick goldmine, and the special teams foundation gets locked in for another season. Minnesota doesn't rebuild. Minnesota reloads. This franchise just navigated chaos with precision, and Skol Nation is watching the pieces fall into place. Let's break down what this means. If the Vikings land Kyler Murray, pair him with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, and flip Jonathan Greenard for a 2nd-round pick, this team is a dark horse playoff contender. If they pivot to Kirk Cousins instead, they get a veteran who knows the system, can mentor J.J. McCarthy, and costs nothing but pride. Either way, Minnesota wins. The NFC North is wide open. Green Bay is in transition, Detroit's window is now but fragile, and Chicago is still building. The North runs through US Bank Stadium, and if the Vikings go 5-1 against division opponents with 3 of those games at home, they win the North. The math is there. The talent is there. The question is, Does Call Nation believe? Here's what I need from Viking Nation. 1. Smash that, like if you believe the Vikings just played the quarterback market like a fiddle and are about to land a steal. 2. Drop a comment with your boldest prediction for this season. Are we signing Kyler Murray or bringing back Kirk Cousins? Are we trading Greenard to Baltimore or keeping him? Are we winning the North, making a playoff run, or going deep into January? 3. Subscribe, because every single subscriber makes Packers fans furious, and we're about to take over the entire NFC. But listen closely, here's the edge of the cliff. Kyler Murray's release is scheduled for Wednesday at 4 p.m., but the Steelers could trade for him before that deadline and steal him out from under Minnesota. That decision could come in the next 24 hours. And on top of that, the Ravens are meeting with their front office today to decide if they're trading for Jonathan Greenard or pivoting to free agency. If Baltimore walks away, Minnesota might only get a fourth-rounder from a desperate team. That's the risk. Plus, there's a rumor that a Vikings defensive coordinator just called a players-only meeting last night. No coaches, no executives, to discuss the Greenard trade and what it means for locker room chemistry. What was said could either unite this defense or create a rift that follows them into training camp. That story drops next. And here's the rival cliffhanger. The Packers just cleared cap space and are targeting the same quarterback Minnesota wants. Green Bay versus Minnesota for Kyler Murray. Who gets him first? Call Nation, the war's here. Hit subscribe, stay locked, and let's make the NFC North bleed purple. We ride together. See you in the next battle.